This is the story of the dead mouse millionaire, also known as the Kshasa. It was a story told by the Buddha to encourage a monk named Ksipanthaka, who believed he was too slow-witted to succeed on the spiritual path. One day, while Ksipanthaka was practicing in a monastery, he couldn't memorize a verse the Buddha had taught. Frustrated, he went to see his elder brother. But even he dismissed Ksipanthaka, believing him to be too dull to understand deep teachings. Dejected, Ksipanthaka walked towards the monastery gate, ready to give up. But just then, the Buddha appeared before him, gently stopping him in his tracks. The Buddha said, "Do not give up, my son. Your success today is not the first time you have achieved greatness. In a past life, you built a great fortune from the most humble of beginnings, simply by following the words of a wise man." Then the scene dissolved into the past. In the ancient city of Babranas, we see a rich and respected treasurer named Kshasa. He was known for his wisdom and foresight. One day, while walking to the king's court, he noticed a dead mouse in the road. Looking at the lifeless creature, he said to himself, "A person with wisdom and vision could take this very dead mouse and make it their starting capital and build a fortune large enough to support a family." At that moment, a poor but intelligent young man named Apaka overheard the treasurer's words. While others scoffed at the idea of making money from a dead mouse, Apaka saw opportunity. He picked up the dead mouse and walked away with purpose. Over the next few days, Apaka used his wits to turn that small investment into a steady income. He sold the dead mouse to a tavern keeper for a single tiny coin, which he used to buy a piece of molasses and a pot of water. Going outside the city, he offered the thirsty travelers a refreshing drink, and in exchange, they gave him handfuls of flowers they had gathered from the forest. Returning to the city, Apaka sold the flowers in the market and earned a few silver coins, which he used to buy more flowers. And as his supply of flowers grew, so did his profits. Then one day, a terrible storm hit the city. The wind and rain beat down on the people, destroying their homes and gardens. Seeing an opportunity, Apaka gathered some fallen flowers and went to the king's garden, where he offered the palace servants sweets in exchange for letting him collect the fallen branches. He worked tirelessly until he had piled up a huge heap of wood at the palace gate. The next day, the king's porter, who needed fuel for his keel, came across the pile of wood, eager to buy it all. He offered Apaka 500 pots in exchange for the entire heap. Realizing that the parts could be sold for a higher price, Apaka accepted the offer. Now, with 500 pots, Apaka set up a water station near the city gate. There, he would kindly serve the 500 grass cutters who passed by every day, giving them water and making friends with them. One day, a broker friend told Apaka that 500 horse traders were arriving the next day. Remembering his 500 grass-cutting friends, Apaka went to them and asked for one bundle of grass each. He then went to the city gate, where the horse traders were due to arrive. There, he had all the grass laid out in front of them. Frustrated that they could find no fodder for their animals, the traders had no choice but to buy all 500 bundles of grass from Apaka at a handsome price of 1,000 silver coins. With this newfound wealth, Apaka became known as Apaka the Rich. One day, hearing that a large cargo ship had arrived at the port, he rented a magnificent chariot and went to see the captain. Impressing the captain, Apaka offered him a valuable signet ring as a down payment for the entire cargo. When 100 city merchants arrived looking to buy goods, the captain directed them to Apaka, who sold them shares of the cargo. Apaka earned a massive fortune of 200,000 silver coins. Then, remembering the wise treasurer who had inspired him to begin his journey, Apaka took half of his fortune, 100,000 coins, and in a grand procession returned to Kshasa. Bowing respectfully to the old treasurer, Apaka said, "Venerable sir, 4 months ago, you saw a fortune in a dead mouse. This wealth is the fruit of the seeds you planted. I have come to offer my gratitude." overjoyed to see how his words had changed Apaka's life. Kashekasafishi smiled and welcomed Apaka to his home, where he introduced him to his daughter and offered him her hand in marriage. And so Apaka became the treasurer of Baranas, succeeding Kashasafishi and taking half of his wealth. Fade back to the present day at the monk. Kesipanthaka was no longer dejected, but bright with inspiration. The Buddha continued. And so, monks, the young man who became a great treasurer was Sipanthaka. In a former life, the wise treasurer who showed him the path of prosperity was myself, just as he achieved worldly greatness by following wise counsel. Sipantaka has achieved spiritual greatness today by following the Dhamma. The story teaches us that with the right guidance and one's own tireless effort, even the smallest opportunity can lead to the highest goal. As a tiny spark, when fanned by the wind, can grow into a great fire. So too can a wise person with the smallest capital achieve great wealth. Thank you for watching.